Ever followed a horse racing tipster or wondered if they're actually profitable? Hold on tight because we're about to take a deep dive into the world of Hugh Taylor, possibly the biggest name in horse racing tips. Featured on Sky Sports racing channels and at the race's website, he focuses on high-priced betting tips. Looking at his results is really quite impressive and profitable. But the burning question is, can you really make money from betting on his horse racing tips? I was genuinely curious, so join my 30-day investigation where I meticulously documented Hugh's horse racing tips, their profits, losses, strike rate, pricing, and everything in between. Will his tips lead to a fortune, or is it just smoke and mirrors set up by those greedy bookies? Let's find out. I started by cracking out Excel and setting up a process to check the daily betting tips. Now, it was a bumpy start over the first few days and I had to alter the process once I noticed something on day 9, and you guys will see why in just a second. Because the goal of this video series is to fairly record, prove and share the evidence on various tipping services so that you guys, the viewers, can make your own mind up. Feel free to share your thoughts after watching in the comments down below. Now, it's crucial that I recorded all the right information because some tipsters use various tricks to deceive the public, like deliberately listing false prices or not keeping a historical record. Plus, I think betting should be fair and open. By the end of day 3, there'd been 3 winning tips at advised prices of 8 to 1, 4 to 1 and 3 to 1. 2 of the 3 were priced at bigger than the eventual BSP. For those unaware, this is significant because the BSP stands for Betfair starting price, the betting exchange starting price at the beginning of a horse race. It's a solid benchmark for value. Beating the BSP means that the bets were highly likely to be profitable over the longer term, so it was a great start from Hugh. Now, for context, I originally documented the tips at the advised prices that Hugh had listed, the exchange price at the time of posting, and the SPs and how many points were advised to bet on that particular selection. I also added an extra column in my spreadsheet to confirm I was content that I could have placed a bet at the prices that were being suggested. Now, experienced bettors will know that this is very important because small price changes completely change the results on the overall record. Unfortunately, I couldn't actually place any of the bets on my own accounts because just about all of them have been state restricted or I've been banned. Now, for newer viewers, bookmakers like Ladbrokes, William Hill and Bet365 do this to accounts that have the potential to beat them over the longer term. They only want repeat losers. Credit to Matt Chapman and Sky Sports Racing for attempting to tackle this thorny issue on air a few months back. Despite inviting 9 of the biggest bookies, none of them dared to show up. Presumably, they're all too busy demanding bank statements, affordability checking people that withdraw money from their platforms. Just a coincidence that it doesn't happen before the withdrawal stage, I'm sure. Now, by day 5, I was starting to notice a problem with the prices and timing, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it. So I needed to make sure that I was there at the screen, poised and ready for the morning's tip the second that it was released, just to remove any ambiguity. Each morning, Hugh Taylor puts out a notification on Twitter to tell his followers that there will be a tip posted in the following 5 minutes. Then, randomly, the tip will appear within that window. Now, I couldn't see the tweets logged in because Hugh had blocked me previously in the past, so I set up mobile notifications and installed an auto refresher for the tipping page. Typically, these horse racing tips are posted a few minutes after 9 o'clock each morning, so I left the screen recording software running on my spare monitor and verified everything as quickly as possible once the tip appeared. Now, I have to be honest here, what I noticed over the following 25 days wasn't what I'd hoped for, because ensuring that I got the tip and checked the pricing within seconds opened a whole can of worms. On day 6, I noticed that the publish time for one of the tips was actually around about 3 minutes before the page actually showed the tip. And although Odds Checker and At The Races were showing the prices as available, the bookmakers' sites were not. I thought maybe it was a freak occurrence and that I'd been slow to react, so I added 2 extra columns on my spreadsheet record. One for the listed publish time on the page and another for the time that my auto refresher first showed the day's tips live. Plus an extra column to calculate any any delays between those two times. As you can see on the screen here, it kept happening. So on day 10, I got serious and started to include timing down to the second via a third party, time.is. Not being able to get the advised prices totally changes the overall results, but I thought maybe it was just a coincidence and a few slow updates. Looking at Twitter, plenty of others have complained that they can't get the tips prices in the past. The FAQ for the tipping column tackles this issue head on. First, it says that the aim of these horse racing tips is to demonstrate it's possible to find value selections without inside information. Second, it states that the bookmakers react rapidly each morning when the column is published. Third, when it comes to getting the prices, it claims that there are plenty who tell me they manage to. And fourth, it makes the point that pricing is directly linked to the column's success when answering why do you quote your results at advised prices rather than SP. A bit confusing when you consider that the column is advertised as consistently profitable. Surely Hugh has a record of every bet slip at the prices that he managed to get himself, unless of course he's not backing them himself. On day 15, Hugh had one tip advised at 2 points, double his usual stakes. The advised price was listed as 4-1 in general, which is 5.0 in decimal odds, so as you'd expect, at the races recorded this as a plus 8-point profit on the day. Which is great, right? Well, actually not at all, and here's why. Take a look. The tip appeared 1 minute and 41 seconds after the page's publish time of 9:03. But that's not even the problem. I navigated to the exchange price and odds checker in seconds. The Betfair exchange was priced at 3-1 in fractional odds, which is 4.0 in decimals, a whole point smaller than the advised price. The odds checker prices had already changed with most of the bookmakers too. Looking at the odds checker timestamp data, they changed at 9:03. Bet365 was the exception, listed at 4-1, so I jumped over to their website as quick as I possibly could. Lo and behold, the price was just 11-4, which is 3.75 in decimal odds, yet when I went back to odds checker afterwards, the price was still listed bigger than 11-4, which is confusing, right? Well, not actually, not once you realise and understand that bookmakers deliberately delay their prices and affiliate data to stop professional gamblers beating them on price. An additional test between OddsChecker and Bet365 prices showed that OddsChecker prices are delayed up to 4 minutes in some cases, which begs the question, how did some of the bookies' prices change at 9:03 in the morning on OddsChecker, including the data processing time and the affiliate delays, when the tip wasn't released to the public until 9:04 and 41 seconds? Weird, right? Maybe it's just another coincidence happening, I thought to myself. Newly aware, I started to notice this happening again and again. Not only was the exchange price shorter than just about every selection, but on days 23, 25, 26 and 27, we can also see the majority of bookies' price changing on OddsChecker at the tipping page's listed published time. Now, recording all of this took a little dedication, so if you're finding this video interesting, please subscribe and let me know which tips you'd like me to look at next. I'll analyse the results in detail now, but as others have suggested in the past, the affiliate links and advertising relationship with bookmakers could be getting a priority over the punters in this particular instance. There's no definitive proof, but the fact that Hugh blocks followers who question the tipping prices and times doesn't look great either. Looking at the results measured against the most important metrics, let's take a look at what happened and why. Because from the 13th of February to the 14th of March, there was 58 horse racing tips published. They included 3 each way tips and 5 were advised at double stakes. Now, sportsbooks only take small bets at that time of day, and beating the BSP will get your account limited, so I've measured several different variations of the results. Hugh had 5 best bets where he advised 2-point stakes during the month, and one of them won. The winner was advised at 5.0 in decimals, meaning the best picks broke even, although the exchange price was 4.0, making them a 2-point loser. The average advised price of the 30 days was 9.57 in decimal odds, although my records make the average attainable exchange price at the time of posting 7.36. Of the 58 horse racing tips, I was confident that it was possible to get the advised prices from Hugh on 10 of those 58 selections, selections, and that's if you haven't been banned or stake restricted on any of the bookmakers listed. Advised prices on 5 of the 58 tips had a bet and exchange price that was equal or bigger at the time of posting, meaning that the other 53 were likely to get your bookmaker's account flagged or restricted, presuming that you managed to actually get the price. Now, 10 of those 58 selections came first in their respective races and 1 of the each way bets placed. Winning results at advised morning prices showed a profit of 15.75 points over the 30-day record. These are the results that are displayed on the official tipping record via At The Races website. However, the same winners at the morning exchange prices show a profit of just 3.6 points. At the bookies' industry starting price, that's then further reduced to a 6.12 point loss, and to Betfair's starting price, a marginal loss of 4.39 points. Unlike this surefire strategy that guarantees people using it win every time.